You already know what the answer to the title of this video is going to be. Is Melusine a must summon? I have been supporting this servant ever since they released. When they dropped on JP, I was like, this is a game-changing servant. They are stupid, dummy, broken, and look at us 2 years later. She has not aged a single day. Do I think she's a must summon? Yes, like, I think she is absolutely fantastic. The problem is that even though she's that good, she also has all of these bonkers servants around her. You got Koyenskaya, Oberon, Morgan, just all these crazy dudes releasing around her, so it kind of makes it hard to set Saint Quartz aside from Melusine when you have, like, broken supports and broken utility guys like Morgan coming out. It makes it really hard to summon for Melusine, but man, if you have the extra Saint Quartz, this servant just does so much that we're going to talk about in today's video. And let me tell you, as someone who has her on JP, she has never let me down. In fact, she's one of my de facto go-to DPSs in general because she just does her job that well. But before we begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that daily FGO content. Also, if you want to see me play FGO live and use that aforementioned Melusine where you can see me rocking out with her, I do that every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my Twitch, which is linked down in the description down below. But man, I just want to get into this video because I have been as excited for Melusine coming to NA as I have been Morgan, right? Because she is just that fun to use and is just that good of a servant that I have been really waiting with much anticipation for her to actually come out. So let's go ahead and just start diving right into this, starting off with her hits, which actually might be a little deceptive. If you looked at Melusine's hits, you wouldn't think that this is going to be the god arts looping servant and the really good buster farming servant that she actually is, because she's got solid NP gain at 0.65%, nothing super insane, nothing crazy to write home about. 3 hits on both of the arts cards, that's kind of standard. 12% star gen is okay, but she's only got the 1 quick card that has good hits at 4 hits, but she's only got the 1, so she's not really going to be genning stars all over the place. But as average as her hits make her look, it is the skills that definitely carry this servant, because all of her skills are very nice. I mean, even her passive skills, though, are just very deceptive as to how good this servant is going to be, because they're like, here's 17.5% debuff resistance and here's a 9% arts buff. You're like, wow, thanks, that's not really what I would expect for someone of Melusine's importance in the story, but all right, cool, let's see what some of these skills do. Starting off with skill 1, already a fantastic intro to this servant. She gives herself a 40% attack buff for 3 turns. That's right, 40% monstrous strength that is not tied down by anything. You just get it straight, raw and real for 3 turns. She also gives herself 500 damage cut that's not hit base, it's just straight up for 3 turns. And then she's also increasing her max HP by 2k for 3 turns and giving herself a 30% battery. This is one of those skills that you just click it every time it's available. You're getting attack and you're becoming really tanky because you're getting some nice damage reduction and a nice increase to your max HP. And the 30% battery can be very nice if you do want to use her as, say, a random wave clear for some big dude you might find in some 90+ node. She can be used for that, but it's also really nice to have for, say, boss battles when you just need access to immediate NP. Just a good skill overall. And the second skill also does not disappoint because it's giving her absolutely ginormous, massive star weight for 3 turns. She's basically guaranteeing that she's going to suck up all the stars for the next 3 turns. And then she's providing 10 stars every single turn for 3 turns and 10 stars immediately on a 5-turn cooldown. Just very nice because the first skill just gives her a lot of very good general buffs, and the second skill sets her up to be a very decent crit servant. But the third skill is where things start to get very interesting for Melusine. So here's what it does based on what stage you have her in. If you don't know what I mean by stage, if you have her in Ascension 1 and 2, or if you have her in Ascension 3, because it'll do different things depending on that. So if you use this while she's in her first or second ascension, it is going to turn her into her third ascension, change the skill, but also give her a 100% battery and invincibility for 1 turn. This has come up when I have been using her in her first and second ascension as a single target DPS to help me close out some boss battles. That 100% battery is obviously really good if you want to use her as an AoE buster person for buster farming, because keep in mind she's also got the 30% battery on her first skill to really help out with that as well. But it's also just really nice because if you just need that last little bit of damage or you need to fire an NP and live an extra turn, this is insanely good for that. Your damage is probably going to go down a little bit because you're going from a single target to an AoE, but it has been very clutch for me just to be able to immediately fire an NP and also be protected for an additional turn. Now, the skill does change once you fire this the first time, so you can't spam a 100% battery, or if you just go into a fight with her already being in her third ascension, which I don't really think is that good of an idea because you're giving up a 100% battery, but you know what, you do you. It does turn into a 30% NP damage skill that also gives her 1 turn of invincibility, so it is rather good for that as well. You still do have that survivability built in there, and you're also getting some NP damage, which is really good for your boy Oberon because he loves to buff up people's NP damage and allow you to go dummy, sick, nasty. Plus, she is a Buster Servant, so she also gets to take advantage of the Buster skill that he has on his third skill as well. Now, like the third skill, the NP does also change depending on if you're in her first or second ascension or her third ascension. Now, the first and second one, the single target arts NP, is crazy because you're designed to spam this all over the place, and the reason you're able to do that, the reason you're able to do, say, 6, 7 NPs in a row, which I've been able to do consistently with my Melusine, it is not that hard for her to do, is because her overcharge stacks NP gain from 20 to 40% for 3 turns. And so even after her buffs wear off, say her Castoria buffs or her initial skill 1 and skill 2 buffs, she is still stacking NP gain over here. So she's always going to be just spamming all over the place. And even though she might lose the attack buff, she will have still some decent damage because she's going to keep smacking the enemy with the increased damage taken that lasts for 5 turns. So you can start getting a lot of those stacks going, and she's also doing decent crits because you have the second skill that has stars going into rotation, and the NP auto bombs 10 stars as well. It's just really, really nice because it's designed to allow her to do so many NPs back to back to back to back to back, and to be able to do it very consistently. It is a very, very strong NP for allowing her to just spam all over the place. The stacking of NP gain is so good. I don't know whose idea it was, but it's crazy because it makes her just absolutely nutty when it comes to just spamming her NP all over the place. Now, her third ascension, this is the one that you're going to be using if you're going to be using her as, say, a Buster farming lady. It does give her the Buster buff on the overcharge over here, 20 to 60% that procs first and also does stack as well. So she's one of those Buster farmers that you'll notice gets better wave after wave after wave because she will start to do more and more and more damage. But a nice little touch they did add in here is that if you do want to use her as kind of like the close for a boss fight, like I mentioned you can do with the third skill, you can auto go into the NP because you can get 100% charge and buy yourself a turn. It also does have Pierce Invul on it as well. So the boss can't like use a sneaky dodge or a sneaky invincibility to kind of keep themselves alive. You can auto pop the NP, guarantee hit, and guarantee buy yourself another turn with that invincibility. Overall, this servant just has so much going for her that I find it really hard to tell people to not go after her and just spend all the Saint Quartz you've got at her, because personally, I'm trying to resist as best I can right now. I'm trying to use insane force of will to just save everything that I can possibly scrounge up before the anniversary for Koyenskaya, but man, Melusine makes a really good case for summoning this servant because she has, again, not let me down since I've had her on the JP version of the game. She has always been like my go-to arts DPS and one of my go-to DPSs in general just because of how good she is and just how free all of her stuff can feel like sometimes. I mean, again, she doesn't have a damage mod, sure, we would like to see her get one of those in the future, but then again, her damage is already pretty fine. Like, she's up there in like the top 7, top 6-ish for hardest hitting single target Lancer, and the fact that she doesn't have a special damage mod makes that pretty commendable, right? Because the only thing that she's really stacking is the reduced damage taken that she's putting on the enemy, right? That's really the only thing she's stacking, because otherwise, that's just free damage that she's able to do. That's not restricted by anything. You don't need to be fighting like dragons or fays or man attribute people. She just does really good damage all the time. So if you're not going to skip Melusine to save for, say, Oberon and Koyenskaya, I hope you get her because she will treat you very nice. She is very, very good. And I cannot stress that enough as someone who's been using her for the last 2 years. But let me know what you're going to be doing in the comments down below. Are you going to be summoning on the Melusine banner? And if so, let me know how that goes in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.